Hi, I'm excited to share a little bit about what you can expect from a couples intensive. We use a model of therapy called emotionally focused therapy, which is the gold standard for couples work. And it's based on attachment bonding science, which means that to feel seen, safe, and accepted by our loved ones makes all the difference in how we feel about ourselves and our lives, and even what we can accomplish out there in the world. So, attachment science tells us that when our most important relationships are in distress, we actually go into a primal panic. We go into that, something's wrong place. And that makes perfect sense. Neurologically, we're wired to depend on one another. So, in EFT, we're not pathologizing behaviors, we're not focusing on problem solving or over analyzing one another or trying to, shift how you talk to I statements or doing more date nights. We're really trying to get beneath the surface at what's happening at a deeper level that's causing all this distress and escalation in your relationship. So, in our 2-day intensive, what you can expect for the first part is that we conduct a super thorough assessment. We really want to understand where your relationship has been, where it is now, and everything that's happened in the middle, to kind of make sense of what are those relationship injuries, are there betrayals, are there just years of chronic hurt and isolation that have led to this disconnection or this lack of trust and intimacy. We also conduct an individual assessment where we meet with each of you one-on-one so we can get a little bit more of your backstory and what were those key attachments, those key relationships in your life that have shaped how you show up in relationships, and maybe what are some learned strategies of how you try to be seen or be loved. And we know that we bring those into our current relationships. We also want to know what are those positive experiences you've had and what are those places of resources and resiliency that positively impact the relationship as well. So the goal in the first part of the intensive is to do the assessment and then to also slow down and to map out the dynamic between both of you. What is that cycle that comes in between both of you, where the more you talk, the more you try to be understood, the more you try to get connection, it feels like things are getting farther and farther away from you. What starts the cycle? What kicks it into gear? What is it that you're telling yourself about it? And what is your response in a moment of disconnection and distress that likely contributes to that escalation? So we really want to get underneath and go to a deeper level. We also are focusing on your experience the whole time. We're focusing on your emotions. So emotions literally mean what moves us, right? It comes from the Latin word to move. And so emotions are our roadmap. And rather than talking about emotions or trying to analyze ourselves, we're actually going to be speaking from emotions in real time so that we can actually access those stuck points and explore how to get unstuck. When you feel hurt, when you feel threatened, what is it that you do to protect yourself? And we don't want to make excuses for any behaviors, but we do want to understand what's happening at a deeper level. The second part of the intensive builds off of the first, and this is where we access potentially more vulnerability. This work requires a lot of repetition to identify those blocks and to identify what's needed to repair the disconnection. Every relationship has misunderstanding. Every relationship has moments of hurt and confusion. The question is what gets in the way of being able to repair those. So in therapy, we talk about rupture and repair, rupture and repair. And if you've never learned how to repair those ruptures, then it just gets piled on more and more and more. And so that second part is really going to the depth of addressing those major injuries, potential betrayals, issues around sexual intimacy, all of that. You can also expect in the intensive to take lots of breaks. So breaks are super important to let your mind, to let your body, to let your system rest. Rest is super important to integrating new information From a neurological point of view, we want you not to work in between. We don't want you to squeeze in errands. We want you to rest and to neurologically rewire and incorporate these new experiences. Our office is located in Central Phoenix. It's by beautiful mountains. There's great coffee shops and restaurants. So being able to kind of decompress in between is super important. Because intensives aren't what real life looks like, and we really want you to get the most of this investment and from your time that you're dedicating to healing your relationship. And that really takes us to the last and final part of what you can expect from the intensive, which is where we discuss how your relationship is different after having gone through this experience, what you learned, what's new, what are those tools that you can incorporate to get unstuck in the future. Relationships come into these intensives with different levels of escalation. So we really want to talk about what a continued care, continued treatment plan can look like. If you don't have a good follow-up plan, then you can regress and you can go back to just where you started, which can be even more distressing after having had these moments of healing and these moments of connection. So we spend a lot of time kind of looking at what are those key takeaways, what have you learned and become more clear on for yourself and your partner, and what do you need to continue to do to build off of that. So if you're interested in learning more about intensives, please fill out that online inquiry form or email or call us, and we will be happy to provide you with more information. Thanks for listening.